Just a Job is the podcast for the modern woman to redefine what success looks like. We highlight real women and their real stories. Welcome back to Just a Job. It's Ellen and Sarah. We have a kind of packed agenda. I have handwritten notes. Sarah has typed out notes for our stand-up. So, hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hi, Ellen. We are so prepared for today.
We are.
Reflective of last week's episode. So
That's on growth.
2025 is going to be our year.
Oh my God. We were just talking earlier about how we need to do our goal setting episode. So maybe that'll be a February or March episode.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that one shakes out.
We're letting the dust settle.
I like that. We're slowly rolling into the year.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yes, your typed out notes. What are your stand-up notes for us today, ma'am?
Why is it that my typed out notes feel lesser than your written notes? I love written notes.
I just had it in front of me. It's how the cookie crumbled today.
Especially if you have a good pen. I love a good pen. Okay, stand-up notes. I have two things. So there's an account, Salary Transparent Street. I think we've talked about it before, but I love their videos because I think it's very interesting. Not only just to know how much people make, but also to how they landed in their job. Obviously, we love that. That's literally the whole point of the podcast. But also to like just the ins and outs of their jobs, if they like it, if they're interested, how they got into it. And I saw one where they were interviewing a younger woman in Boston, and her role was a rotational analyst.
I saw this too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, interesting. What's this? And it's basically all I've ever described of what I wish that I could do. And Taylor mentioned it about a sales rotation where for 3 to 6 months or a predefined time you're in a role and then you change. And I'm like, more programs like this should be at the forefront of every young person's mind, because I would love to try on a job for 3 to 6 months and know that I am guaranteed another role on the like other end of it. So like I'm signing up for this year-long program instead of me scouting and trying to find 3 to 6 month stints. And she was making okay, which is really great for a young adult and being able to test the waters. I was like, damn. So I meant to look into that. I bookmarked it so I could look into it. But that was my first one. I thought that was very interesting.
It is. And I'm kind of like, I've got a little bit of the FOMO jealous bug going because I'm like, damn, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mutually beneficial. You've got, you can pass around an intern to do a project for a certain amount of time and then poof, they're off to the next department. They get incredible experience. I loved, like, I think she asked her, like, oh, what have you liked so far? And she's like, I literally just started. I don't know. It was cute.
Yeah, it was very cute. So make sure, if you don't already follow Salary Transparent Street, do so and then find that one. And then I just have one little pop question. The Female Quotient is a social media platform. They do events as well. You've probably seen this, but they did a feature video. They were interviewing women in Switzerland. I don't think that had anything to do with it because it was like mostly tourists. But the question that I was like, oh my God. There were a lot of them actually that were jaw-dropping, but this one I thought kind of related to the podcast. Question and trivia. If you know it, don't say it, but do. When were U.S. women allowed to wear pants on the Senate floor?
Ooh.
First allowed to wear pants.
Ooh, okay. I don't actually know this. I thought you were going to ask about when women were first allowed to have bank accounts. And I was like, oh. I somewhat remember a vague time. But okay. Allowed to wear pants on the Senate floor. I'm going to say something disgusting, like 1980 or something.
Okay, well, it's going to get yuckier.
Oh, no.
1993.
You're kidding me.
Literally like just outside of our lifetime. Yeah.
That is banana.
Pants.
Jinx. My God. Wow.
Yeah.
It's truly remarkable when you think about like how far women have come just within like the last 50 years in terms of the workplace. I mean, like, thank God. I mean, we have come so far, which is so incredible, but me, oh my, do we have a long way to go? Pants.
Yeah.
I was
Trust me, skirts are more comfortable sometimes, but
true. But I was thinking about, I was complaining the other day about not being able to wear jeans to work, but pants, that is crazy. That was a fun little trivia. We should start doing trivia more often. That's fun.
Yeah. So those are my 2. You have handwritten notes. I'd love to hear
All
what
right,
you
well,
have.
let me get out my piece of paper. Hopefully, it doesn't have really bad, like, feedback.
Yeah, we need ASMR.
Yeah. I'll do some, like, origami or something. My first one was a TikTok video interview of Ilona Maher, who is the female rugby player. She also just went through and got, I think, 2nd or 3rd on
Mhm.
Dancing with the Stars,
Second.
and she's just incredible. She's one of those people that, like, whenever she has an interview, she just like, you like her so much more, and, like, everything
Mhm.
she touches just turns to gold. And there was a woman interviewing her talking about, like, the success that she's had recently, both in the sport of rugby, and she went to the Olympics, and then also with Dancing with the Stars. And the interviewer asked her if she had imposter syndrome. She goes, "No, I don't have that." And it was so funny because she just, like, very matter of factly said, like, "No, I worked hard. I deserve what I have gotten. I believe that the success that I've had is directly correlated to the work and time that I've put into it. Like, I earned this." And it was really interesting reading some of the comments because it was like, you know, typically that question is asked to women who are successful, and
Mhm.
how I think about, like, us and on the podcast, and how we will ask questions like that, like, how do you balance it all,
Yeah,
and do
very
you
female.
experience imposter
Mhm.
syndrome? Even, like, one of our 2025 outs was imposter syndrome, which, like, we're on the right side of history there. But I was like, oh, I wish I thought about it in that way, because when I hear imposter syndrome, I immediately go to, oh, yeah, of course, like,
Who
most women have
doesn't?
imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
And I loved her, like, unapologetic, "Hell yeah, like, I worked hard and I deserved this" attitude. It was so cool.
Need more of that.
100%. So I'll have to share the clip on our Instagram or something for everyone to see it, because I was like, "Girl
Yeah,
power." I
please.
really
She's
liked it.
a rock star. When she was on Dancing with the Stars, I don't know if you watched it, but there was an episode where she was really struggling with this dance, and she, like, cried on national television. I was like, "This is so refreshing." Like,
Yeah.
just showing emotion and
It's
not
so
being like, "I'm
normal.
so sorry, I'm crying." Like, she was
Yeah.
just like, "I'm frustrated, that's all." Like, it's just natural.
Right. Like, I
So,
loved her. It was so refreshing,
yeah.
and, like, just that unapologetic, authentic self coming through. I was like, I liked you before, sister, and I like you even more after watching this interview." So that was my first note. And my second is, I shared this on our Instagram, but the chief HR executive at Spotify sticking to their guns in terms of their policies around work from anywhere is the name of their policy. And she said that, quote, remote staff, quote, aren't, oh my God, I have to figure out how to turn that off. Honestly, balloons for this, because this is worth celebrating.
I know, I'm like, "This is great. Keep going."
But she said that, quote, remote staff aren't children. And again, they're going to be sticking to their work from anywhere policy. And I was like, we just talked about this. I love the aspect of being like, yes, there are some jobs and some situations where it makes more sense to have more people in person, and you need to know where people are, yada, yada. And I just loved, like, the call out of, we are adults and we don't need to be tracking your every single click on and where your butt is and where you're working. And I just really liked that take. It was very refreshing.
Can appreciate. Also, just get a call out. It's woman, right?
Yes. Well, it's HR.
Oh. Mhm.
Unfortunately. There you go.
Oh, not okay, okay. For some reason, I thought it was a C.
Well, hey, it starts from the top, so at least there's some
That's
sort of
true.
synergy there,
They're creating yes. They're
Which also
creating
led
an
me
environment.
to make a poll also on our Instagram about how people are currently working in their current jobs. And a majority of everyone is remote, which I found very interesting. I was not
Mm,
expecting that. I mean, you see return to office policies all the time. And a majority of the people, 47%, were remote, and the rest were either hybrid or in person, which I was not expecting, honestly. So thank you for participating. But I was expecting to talk about returning to work and returning to office, this story in particular, and then, like, screenshot the results and see that everyone was in person, and that was not the case. It was weird.
hmm. I wonder how that will trend in the next 6 months. I don't know, I think this year is probably gonna be weird
Mm, that's a very
and a
good point.
defining year, like, if companies will model after the return to office or
Mhm.
I don't know.
That'll be interesting to track and trend out. You know that
Also,
we will talk about it, so that's for sure.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, it's crazy. It's been 5 years. We're coming up on 5 years
Mhm.
of this workplace shift because of COVID. So,
Oh my god. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it also does not seem that long ago at the same time.
I know sometimes
Much
it's
like
a
the month
fever
of
dream that I wish I could go back to.
Oh,
For only
oh.
the good parts, not the
Hmm.
death and not the, like, raging fear.
I have some more questions on that.
No, I'm talking about, getting boozy slushes and going
Mm,
home and just drinking and eating and learning TikTok dances in the room next door because you're embarrassed. Like,
yep. Mhm.
that life.
Zoom, happy hours, playing games. I mean, we did that, so
I know. Should have bought some Zoom stock. Should have bought some.
oh, no, gosh.
I
Oh
know.
my god.
It's okay. We didn't know. But
We didn't know. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to these are well thought out and planned, I will say, weekly stand up.
hey, everyone. Today we are joined again with Jackie Hessel. We spoke with her back in October, and time has apparently just completely flown by because now we have her back for another episode. We figured for this, we would be doing some sort of series where we're checking in with her. Think of it as like a quarterly update with your friend. And we are so excited to chat with Jackie and just hear everything that she's been up to. Just to give additional context, if you didn't already listen to the original episode, which we'll link in the task description, Jackie and I know each other
Task
from.
description, Sarah, turn your project manager brain off. Oh my God. Jackie, please tell me you heard that too.
Description. And I was like, the caption?
It's so funny. Oh my God.
Wow, the way things just roll off your tongue sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, the episode description. Jackie and I know each other from a previous life. Jackie graduated from Creighton in May and is now living and working in Chicago. So, this is
Mhm.
our like 1 year journey of acclimating to life post grad. So, that's kind of the focus of the episode. But, Jackie, before we jump into some of our questions, just tell us how you've been.
Good. Thanks for having me again. I'm so excited. I feel like we just met now that I'm sitting in the exact same spot and like looking at you guys both. I'm like, wait, it feels like no time has passed, but that also feels like so long ago and so much has happened. I feel like at work and what I've learned, I thought I knew my job then, and now so much has happened. Like every single day, I feel like I live like 10 lives. So,
Good,
but I've been
good.
really good. It's definitely a busy season right now. So that's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're very excited to hear about you and all of your updates, both personally and professionally. Also, you are our very first repeat guest. So you get to wear that
Oh,
fun little badge of honor, which is
fun.
exciting.
I'm
Um,
honored.
good. Yes. You get like, what do people do? They get like special badges and stuff on
Yeah, we'll give
LinkedIn.
you a LinkedIn badge.
Yeah.
What?
Ooh.
That's cool.
That actually might be like a really fun little marketing thing to look into, Sarah. I
Love
wonder
it.
if we could do
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, all these ideas are swirling in my
Yeah.
head already. Jackie, let's see. It's January. You said it's
Hmm.
busy season for you.
Yeah.
What's going on in your life in the corporate world for you right now?
Well, I just got back from, we had a holiday party. This, I think it was like at mid-December, end of December. And then from there, we all went straight home for like the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and everything. Came back, and there's like a million job orders for us to fill. Everyone's wanting to get a new job in the new year. So that's been super fun. And then it was so, like, it's like you work so fast, and there's so many, conversations being had. And then they were like, oh, yeah, this is only like we're operating at about a 3 right now out of 10. And I was like,
Whoa.
all of our faces were like the newer recruiters were like, what? Um, but it's definitely super exciting. And just it makes, like I said before, I think I mentioned, it just makes the day go by so much faster. The weeks go by so much faster when you have so much to do.
Okay, I'm glad that you expressed that it's busy season because I feel like LinkedIn is no longer me doom scrolling. When I get on LinkedIn, I feel like every other post is a job opening.
Hmm.
Is
Yeah.
something changing in the water in 2025?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what's going on with us too. I think there's like a good energy. Companies are probably looking within where they could add to their team, that type of thing.
So, what does a typical day look like for you, and how has that changed from when we talked to you last to now?
I feel like the routine is down. Like I have the routine down. I've got the commute down.
That's awesome.
I mean, I
Half
have
the
my
battle.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner prep the night before. Like I mean, I have that done on Sundays. I have my outfit for the night before. I can like get up and get going. So that way I can set myself up for success. I'll come to work like right about before 8 and then kind of just start my day, look through my emails. I'll have interviews booked for like the next day, basically. So I spend my days doing like recruiting calls to plan out through the week. So then that way, like by the end of the week, I have about like 20 interviews booked. And I kind of just am sourcing. We have a team meeting where the sales team like updates us on the jobs that we call them hot jobs. So like each sales person has different clients they work with. And then they're like, "Ooh, I just got this hot job and like we need to fill it by tomorrow, whatever." Like, who do we have? And then you'll either spend your day recruiting for that or whatever you're working on. So every day can look a little bit different of what types of jobs I'm working on or who I'm talking to or like what can come up. Sometimes we'll have like working in like the temp industry, you can have like a backfill. My coworker and I just like fought it out. Like we weren't actually fighting, but like, and she's my friend too. So it's totally fine. But basically our salesperson came over and was like, "We need someone starting tomorrow." Just like a quick and easy fill. And both of us had people, we both had to like do our pitch on our candidate and kind of like fight for them. And then hers got picked and I was like, "No." But then she's like, "I'll come to you next time, like have her ready." So it's kind of like fun that there's like some quicker ones and then like the longer term. Um, but yeah, it's pretty busy. It's exciting and I really am liking what I'm doing. So that's fun.
Good.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that you've A, found your routine,
Mhm.
and B, are very much getting in the groove. This might sound
Mhm.
a ridiculous question, but just like dumbing it down, if you
Mhm.
had to give yourself like an elevator pitch of what a recruiter does, like explain just kind of like in
Yeah.
3 sentences.
Mhm. I feel like a normal recruit or not a normal, but like a corporate recruiter, there's all different types of corporate recruiting. And then within a staffing agency, my recruiting is like end to end. So basically finding the candidates, interviewing the candidates, submitting them to roles that would be a good fit, and kind of like becoming their account manager at the end of the day once they get the job, basically. So tons of back and forth. You can source on LinkedIn, you can source through like your own pipeline of networking, kind of difference between phone screens and interviews, really diving deep into like their experience. This is definitely not 3 sentences, but
No, and
It
it
painted the
um,
works.
picture. Thank you.
yeah. And
Exactly.
then like if they're a good fit for the jobs that we get in, you pitch it to them. So it's like a little bit
Mhm.
of like your sales pitch. And then if they're, you kind of feel out their excitement, you kind of like be quiet for a second and listen to what they have to say. And then you go to your salesperson, sell your candidate to them, see if you can submit them over. If it's a good fit, and then they interview for the job and get it, then yeah, you get the fill.
Then it's the
Mhm.
celebration, and you get,
Yes. Yeah.
the kickback short as well,
Right.
I'm sure.
Right.
So if you are interviewing regularly, like every
Mhm.
single day, what
Yeah.
are your, like, 2025 top interview tips?
I would just say I always feel like you are allowed to be yourself in an interview. Like you do not need to have this like scripted persona about you. I feel like it's like every company wants to know you for you and see if it's going to be a good culture fit. So you don't want to just put on a persona. You want to like actually be yourself and let them get to know you. That's probably my biggest one. And then being able to like articulate your thoughts and your true like day to day of your job when you talk about it. So like being able to like speak on the main parts, like what you're exposed to in the jobs, kind of practicing that and like being clear reason for leaving into the next role, kind of like talking about your story. Um, and then obviously being professional, like you want to like dress to impress. You want to, um, not look like you're like sitting on a couch. I always know like if my candidates are set up and like you would be surprised what I see. Like it's kind of funny, but like throw on a little blazer or like do your hair quick. It always can help.
Ooh, okay. You are kind of segueing me into this. We talked about it, I think, like right before maybe the end of the first season, but there were
Hmm.
statistics that like Gen Z were getting like fired at a
Hmm.
really high rate. What are
Hmm.
some of the, I guess, like, well, this isn't really a good question that pertains to that, but like, what are some things that you're seeing that are taking people through the recruiting process really
Hmm.
Nope, that question sucks.
It's okay.
Um,
You can think about it.
one second. One
You didn't
second.
even
That's why
finish.
there's editing, Sarah.
I'm like asking the exact same thing that you asked, Alan, just in like different words.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, so I was
You could
saying that
play
Gen
off
Z.
the Gen Z piece of like, what are the top, like, as a Gen Z, like, how are you experiencing the corporate world? Like, what are you noticing that maybe like millennials, Gen Xers, boomers
Okay.
are
Okay.
not maybe?
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about it in a previous episode with Gen Z getting fired at like a pretty high rate, which is insane. And we can talk about it more. But being on the other side of it, like, what are some things that you're seeing when it comes to generational differences?
Yeah, that's actually funny because I've been thinking about that a lot because I actually have all ages, more seasoned versus like the newer grad. And like our roles are for, certain type. Like you want to find newer grads for certain roles, you want to find more seasoned for some roles. It just depends. And just like their communication styles are definitely different. And you'll see all levels of it too. So like for example, like some of my newer grads just like always have their timesheets in perfect, but like I'll have to remind like the more seasoned ones, like, hey, like kind of explain the software, the back, like it's not too, yeah, like kind of that type of stuff. And then I see some newer grads wanting just like such a high salary because they come from like post grad college looking for this like amazing job, like entry level job, but with like a way higher salary. So you kind of have to like talk them into like what it's looking like right now in the market. And everyone's like, oh, I of course like want hybrid or like I want remote or because that's just kind of what our world has come to. But we're really seeing 5 days in person for a lot of roles that we get. So that's also another like little conversation that, if we have nothing for them after they say remote or hybrid, they'll come back like a month later being like, okay, I guess I'll do in person. It's almost like they don't want to be in person, which like I'm 5 days a week and I couldn't love it more. My job just makes sense being in person and being like with the recruiters, with the sales, bringing the energy at all times. So it's kind of funny.
Well, the
Yeah.
new grad piece is really interesting because having the internet and growing up with the internet at your fingertips for as long as you can remember is
Mm-hmm,
a blessing and a curse because now you have access to be able to see if I'm in this job, what could I
mm-hmm.
be making?
Right.
And while looking up salary information may or may not always be accurate, you're seeing
Yeah.
people on TikTok or LinkedIn. I made
Right.
6 figures this year. And there are
Mm-hmm.
very few jobs that you will be making 6 figures right out of school. In fact, I don't really
Yeah.
know of any that you would be doing, you would be
Right, it's
making that
hard
kind
not
of
to
money.
compare. Like when you see that on
Mhm.
social media or you see like someone, you know, get a job that you think you're just as qualified for and you don't know why. Like I feel like that's such a hard mental battle.
Totally. Well, and not only do you see those salary expectations, but then you see what COVID did to the workplace and
Right.
what you were talking about earlier of hybrid in person and remote,
Mhm.
like you see everyone and the shift in the workplace going towards remote. But now
Mhm.
it's the pendulum's swinging back to the other side. I mean, you see it all the time on LinkedIn, all of these return to
Mhm.
office mandates, and now that's the norm. So it's
Mhm.
interesting to hear you say that people are wanting that they can't find
Mhm.
it, and then they come back and say, "Oh, actually, this is the offer I had on the table. This is what I have to take."
Right. And it's like, I don't know if some people just like, I mean, I think everyone loves the flexibility of like being able to work remote and being able to work from their homes and everything like that. But then I think some people, on the other hand, want that because they want to do the bare minimum and like not have to be like micromanaged and everything.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's different for everyone, but I think that also it's almost like a loophole for some people versus like being in person. I guess you're being like monitored more. I don't know how to explain it, but I definitely can like sense and pick up on that too.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and a big piece of that is workplace culture. I think
Mhm.
as somebody who has worked in an office 5 days a week, that like I got my wrist slapped when I was 2 minutes late because of traffic, kind of thing, where it's like,
Mhm.
like that's so annoying. We're adults. Like treat
Right.
me. I mean, this was also 7 years ago, so this was before remote work even existed. But I think that there's probably that sentiment that people are like, oh, I was once 5 days a week and it caused my
Mhm.
life to look like this. Now that I've
Mhm.
had this other lifestyle, I don't want to go back. But
Right.
if the workplace culture has also changed, then, like it's something to give a shot.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Right.
the in-person hybrid, especially now with
Mhm.
like all these government mandates, I'm like, oh no,
Oh,
what companies are gonna potentially try to reflect that, and what's
Mhm.
this year just really going to shape up to be. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
interesting that you're seeing that.
Yeah, totally. And I, as like a new grad moving to a new city, I'm very glad that my role's in person because like I feel like we talked about it in the first episode. I crave community. And I mean, this is my community. This is my family. It's like my work family. So it's like these are my people that I'm with every day and I love them and I love being here. So it's super nice that like that worked out for me. And it is just like a great culture here. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really important I think for that first, at least one
totally.
of your early careers, like
hmm
being able to be in person is such a
hmm
skill. We talk about that. Like it
yeah,
is a skill that can be easily lost if not
right.
pursued.
And
hmm
like, you can tell who has and has not worked in an office, and the later you
hmm
are in your career and you haven't experienced either,
hmm
you can tell, and it's not a good look.
Yeah,
Right.
totally. And we even have like what I said, I do usually do a lot of my interviews on Zoom just because like that's easy. Like I can book a same day and, commuting around the city, like yes, they could come down here, but with like my schedule, their schedule, you never know. So it's like a Zoom link works better. But
Mhm.
you would be surprised like when you bring someone in person to see how they present themselves, how they talk about their roles, what they wear, I immediately will know this person will not be for that client, but could be for another. So it honestly helps bringing and seeing people in person. It's kind of like you would be surprised, like some people like wouldn't come in like a business professional and some people just like do it naturally. And like I do like to remind them, but also sometimes you don't want to and just kind of see how they're
Mhm.
actually going to show up.
Yeah, yeah. This is bringing up a topic in my mind that I've been thinking about a lot recently, only because Michael brought me a podcast that was talking about it, and I don't know if he was trying to give me a hint. It's no wait, it's about the loneliness epidemic and
Oh.
Mm.
how Americans now more than ever spend time alone than in a setting with a person or people. It's so interesting to me because obviously yes, workplace plays the biggest factor. And
hmm
then in that, but then also too like your life outside of work. So asking you, Jackie, like outside of work, it sounds like you've definitely found your community, but like
hmm
how are you like taking that kind of same format and like extending it outside and into your personal life?
Like how I'm finding community. Well, I will say after a long day of work, I just want to be alone. So that's funny that you say that.
That's awesome.
And then some nights I'm like, oh, like it would be nice to just like come home to like my old college roommates and everything like that. But I'm
Mhm.
lucky I get to come home to like a couple of my roommates. Our schedules are always like everyone's schedule is so different. So like I get lucky when I get to see like one or two of them when I'm home. So that's like my little community, which is nice. Like we just to catch up about your day and like hear about, my roommates are all different. It's like a nurse, a teacher, nutrition. So it's like you get to hear lots of different stories. So that's always fun. And then I've been recently going to Core Power. So that's been fun to have a community there.
Mhm.
I did a free week and then now I just started my month and I just met one of my candidates yesterday is a core power teacher. So I got her number and we've been texting. So kind of just building that connection through workout classes, of course, kind of like what I did in Omaha.
Mhm.
And then friends of friends, I've just been meeting a lot of people in the last couple of months, which has been super fun. And then obviously there's a good amount of Creighton people here. So whenever I feel like I just need a sense of like home or like what I used to have in college, it's nice to hang out with people I know.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that sounds, like, so full circle, especially one of your candidates is
I
a core power
know.
instructor, like, hello, are you
I know.
kidding?
I was like, wait, can I ask you about, like, I completely just stopped talking about anything like work related. I'm like, wait, I see on your resume you're a core power instructor.
My eyes went directly there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you are really enjoying your job. You found, like you said, you got your schedule down and
hmm
you're really comfortable and you're really enjoying what you're doing. So,
hmm
over the past, what was it, 3, 4 months since we spoke
hmm
last, can you give us maybe something that's happened over the past couple of months? You're like, yes, I'm so proud of myself for doing this. Like, really could be as
hmm
little as having a difficult conversation at work.
That's
And
what I
then
was gonna
maybe
say.
something I was gonna say, sometimes that is a feat in and of itself, let me tell
hmm
ya. And then so like a peak here we go. We'll share a peak and a pit if
Mhm.
you could do one of those.
Okay. Peak and oat pit.
Mhm.
Okay. I would say, well, I love to celebrate all the small wins because you got to hold on to those. But I think like some of the pits have just been like these scenarios that have come up at work with my candidates who, they have the job, they're doing great, but there's like difficult conversations that have to come up. It's a lot different for every client that we have and what their expectations are. And you would just like assume that your candidate who got the job would follow them. But like as their account manager, I have to kind of coach them. So getting through those times where I'm like literally shaking and having to be this like brand new person in my job pretending like I'm like a awesome recruiter who's done it forever. Like I feel like it's so nerve wracking, but then once you do it, it's over. So I think it like leads into my peak. So it's like I learned those heavy conversations early on, and I was so nervous and like so anxious to have them and worried that I was, like this is my candidate. She's representing me at our clients. Like, why is she doing X, Y, and Z, or why is he doing that? Why were they late and why did they not show up? That type of thing. And then just overcoming those and feeling so confident in myself and in my job, like looking back at all the conversations I had or like scenarios and how I handled them, I'm like ready to do it again. And even this week, one has come up that was like, okay, let's go. I handled it and it was okay because I did it. So I feel like they go hand in hand between my peak and my pit.
I'm so proud of you. That's so awesome.
That is a very big win. Like the reps, right? The reps
Right.
matter. And it sounds like you're just getting acclimated to like having those
Mm-hmm.
conversations. And it's funny because probably even 3 months from now, you're gonna be like, oh, I thought I had a tough conversation. Like, wait till you hear this story.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
people are probably pretty surprising, especially when you get the situations that you probably run into. I'm thinking like also
Right.
too, like what I put a potential recruiter through. I'm like, oh
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely like all of us have crazy stories and stuff, but I feel like it's just the industry that I'm in. And it's also just like working on the agency side of things. You're not doing internal recruiting. It's
right.
doing like it for other people. So it's a lot of conversations, which like I'm learning so much and like I think it's a full cycle. So I don't know. I think every day I can take away like 3 to 5 things I learned that day, which is like what I wanted when I was a senior interviewing. I was like, continuous growth is so important to me and continuous learning. So, I think like as difficult as these conversations can be, I'm learning a lot. So that's good.
All
Oh, sweet.
positive. Okay,
Yeah.
last question for you. I mean, we're like midway, a third of the way through Q1. Between now and when we speak to you next, what's something that you're wanting to work on, or what's something new that you want to do, either personally or professionally?
Personally, this sounds funny, but I want to read at least 2 books a month, maybe one, because that 2 is kind of a lot for me.
1 to 2.
Yeah, 1 or 2. And like switch up the genre. Like one kind of like self-reflecting, self-help, like kind of just like that type of genre. And then one like fun or like a romance novel or a mystery novel, something like that. So that's like more personal because I just feel like I never can just sit down and enjoy a book. I'm always like go, go, go. And I think that will help just slow me down and like I don't know. I think it's what sounds relaxing versus
Mhm.
TikTok, which almost went away the other day and it was really scary.
Oh my God. Tell us about it. Good Lord.
And then professionally, I'm working towards achieving Rookie Club, which is basically hitting 10K in spread, which is like the money you're bringing in for the company with like the amount of candidates you have out working. So that's like the main goal. You want to hit that under a year. So I started in August, want to hit it next August. Ideally, I have a goal with my manager. We just talked about my goals. And we said before my 23rd birthday. So that in May. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes,
I'm
you got
excited to hear about.
this.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
it. You've
I
got
know.
it.
So, but I mean, you never know. Like, you think your candidates are going to get the job. Sometimes they do, and then they don't accept it. So, I've been running into that. So, just keeping your head focused on the goals and just working hard.
Good for
That is the
you.
recipe.
Those are
Mm-hmm.
good, healthy goals to have too. I mean, Sarah, we need to do our goal episode. I just thought about that. Another thing, idea in my mind of things we need to do.
We'll add to Asana right
Yes,
now.
seriously. Under
um,
task description.
Yeah.
oh
Be
Lord.
project manager.
Oh my God, yeah. It's a trait that carries 24/7.
It's a good
Yes.
Well,
trait to
Jackie,
have.
thank you for the updates. I think it's really exciting to hear your perspective on like recruiting, job searching, especially beginning of year. It's very topical. So, we'll include everywhere that you can find Jackie. If you're in Chicago, connect with her. I know it's cold as hail right now. But maybe you could go, find a coffee shop or go to a core power class. Who knows? But Jackie, it
Yeah.
was good hearing from you, and thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much for having me. That was so fun.
Always is. All right, we'll see you. And remember, at the end of the day, it's literally just a job.